Welcome back to the channel. Today it's Play Like Tommy Fleetwood, Tee Time Tips, Tee to Green. Why would you not want to play like Tommy Fleetwood? Theme-wise, just see, obviously with the get-up, you might notice the Addy Zeros. Addy Zero Gravity. Do you know the colours though? Ryder Cup ones. In case you don't know, Europe might have won that. And Tommy Fleetwood, of course, was one of the big stars of that team. Phenomenal, as always. He has the highest conversion rate of points in the Ryder Cup in its history. That's how good he is under the gun. He's gone from being the guy that, when's he going to win in America? Is he the guy that comes so close but never quite finishes it off? Well, we knew that was different. We saw what he did in Europe, but in America he hadn't, but then he goes and wins the Tour Championship, and in what style, and includes the FedEx Cup. It is kind of ironic, 2 trophies at one time. He's going to keep going on and winning, won in India as well. He is about to see the best in front of him. Not to this point, all the best with Tommy Fleetwood, I firmly believe, is in front of him. So I'm going to try and tap into some of the things that make Tommy Tommy. What is he? He's one of the great iron players. What is he also? Super consistent and arguably as rounded as anybody in the modern day game, apart from obviously when you separate someone like Scheffler, Rory as well. But in terms of across all the disciplines, driving, approach play, around the greens, hidden skill for Tommy, and massively improved in putting in recent years too. The bit he's famous for though is the golf swing. It is electric. And when you actually watch Tommy hit it, it makes perfect sense, whether you're a high handicap or low handicap or commentator, why it goes down the fairway, why he hits so many quality iron shots, because fundamentally the mechanics, well, they're bulletproof. They're just so good. The club is always in front of him and he allows himself to have that way where he's controlling his arm and body. His arms and body talk to one another better, I think, than any other player in the game. But it's not by chance, it's because of hard work. Now, of course, he's worked with Butch Harmon on some great simple stuff. That's allowing him to release his head on the way through. Butch always finds small things, but it's always a root cause of something that can make it much better. He's brilliant at picking out the simple thing, never overcomplicates. I love that about Butch Harmon. Very Tee Time Tips in terms of how he goes about his business. But Alan Thompson for so many years was Tommy's coach, and a lot of the things that Tommy does come from the things that Alan taught him. He continues to do so. And that golf swing, the famous bit, you know it, it's the follow through. It's the Fleetwood follow through, isn't it? Where he finishes sawn off. That once upon a time was a rehearsal. So it was a practice drill, and the idea was there's no wasted swing with Tommy. Now with most of us, if we John Daly it, as good as John was, we get all the way over here, trying to time this on the way back with my arms and my body working together and sync it up to be matched up at strike, good luck. And yet most of us have these swings where it's all arms, way too long, completely detached from the body, and then on the way down we spend trying to catch it all up together and time it. Tommy doesn't have to do that, and what you'll see in his backswing, very much driven by the fact that he'll have that rehearsal. You'll see him so often with that club in the ground. He's trying to make sure that the club tracks the right way and comes down the right way as well in terms of on plane. And what he'll want to see is none of the arms getting detached on the way back. He wants to see that butt end will still be looking back at him, so the hands will be hugging the toe line, club always outside, and as it works back, it's on plane, simple up to the top, not super long in his backswing though, especially with the irons, no wasted movement. He turns as far as he can make it, then the arm stops swinging as well. There's no full turn, then arms to the close, and that's one of the big key takeaways for Tommy. So in sync here, which means on the way down, still really easy then to use the body, to drive, fire that right side through, and control that follow through. So the finish position is a byproduct of the fact that the arms and body were in togetherness, they were matched up, they were connected. So many different ways to feel it. I mean, we've seen so many guys, Rory uses this, so many players do, the ball between the arms, you can buy them online, super easy for shorter shots, especially with wedges, feel that connection, because if we lose it and the gap creates in the arms, we always drop the ball. If you pinch one of those balls between the arms, you'll start to all of a sudden get a real sense. The old school one was a glove under the armpit. Doesn't always work perfectly in some of the things it creates in your swing, but it still creates that sensation of connection. And it's that connection of arms and body. Arms and body working together. And you'll find that to me to do it, actually, I don't want to swing longer because that's when I drop the golf ball. And as much as the finish to the swing isn't a problem, by Tommy thinking about where he needs to finish, it makes him do all the right things beforehand. If he tried to feel that connection and just let his swing finish, he wouldn't be as good. So I'm going to try and tap into that here. We're on the Edinburgh course at Wentworth. We're going to try and hit, drive it down, narrow fairway, bunkers left and right. He's about middle of the road in terms of distance, Tommy. So it's going to fit nicely for me. The accuracy though is going to be a problem. for me to keep up. I'm going to keep it shorter in the backswing, so when I stop turning, I'm going to stop the club, and on the follow through, I'm going to make sure that I keep that connection, so I've got to be more in sync, so I'm going to have to be smoother in the way that I swing the golf club. If I snatch from the top, which I'm guilty of going too quick, I'm going to lose connection, and then I'm going to have to try and find it. So I've got to be smooth in connection, that first move, and then I can turn on the power, but I'm going to feel like I control it all with my body turn and leg action, rather than swish of the arms. So it's going to feel a little bit more, to me, like a punch shot. Okay, let's have a go. Well, it's right down the middle. Do I look like Tommy Fleetwood? Huh? Yeah, because I let go now. Okay, it was short. Look, if nothing else for me, that's not going to be as connected as Tommy. I'm not going to move the club. One of the things that's great about Tommy, as he comes down, and it's a great thing for me to practice because I'm really bad at this. So with my coach I'm feeling more this way because I'm really guilty of going like this, like so many people at home will be. We need to feel that first move, and it can feel uncomfortable to get used to it. Feel like it's taken away with the belly almost, and the arms are attached to me, so I don't lose connection immediately. At the start, wind up, and to me this feels a bit more this way, which is a good thing for me because I can end up a bit like this, like so many of us can, and then we either throw over the top or we come this way into strike, and then from here down. And Tommy works beautifully like this. You can see those low hands and that rotation, there's that finish. Now that's the stuff of dreams for me. I'm not going to get there, but by that simple feel I tried, won't be as good, but it's closer, and it's those marginal gains. It's those marginal gains that get us closer to our potential. So I am very fortunate to have a lovely relationship with Tommy Fleetwood. Who doesn't know, in terms of if you've come across him and met him, he is one of the most normal superstar golfers you could ever wish to meet. Self-deprecating, very humble, but a worldie of a golfer. And he's always been that way. He's never changed the tours, his game's developed, he's got time for people. I think that's one of the reasons why he's possibly one of the most loved golfers in the entire game. I first met him, actually, I was on tour, and the Walker Cup team, that I don't, forgive me, I can't remember the year, but the Walker Cup team that Tommy played in, they came to Sunningdale for a training session before they went away, and they asked me to come along. I was on tour. So I first saw Tommy and walked a couple of holes with him there. So I spent some time with him with a few little tips or, bits that hopefully would help them when they were out competing at the Walker Cup. And I saw him there, and I remember watching him hit it. And some of the movements, like the movement of the head, which has always gone down a little bit through strike, like some of those, and the things that make Tommy Fleetwood, Tommy Fleetwood. And I love that. It's like, as good as he's got and as functional and as beautiful as his swing is now, there's still the essence of Tommy Fleetwood. The thing that made him Tommy Fleetwood in the first place that's there. That's lovely. That's your identity. That's like your DNA. Never try and change your DNA. It's never going to work. It's like, you've got to be who you are still, but then polish it. Don't reinvent it. What a great tip that is. I mean, in essence, if someone had told me that when I was on tour, like, don't reinvent the wheel. Remember how you got here and just polish it, make it better, rather than like, scrap that, let's try something brand new. And thankfully, Tommy never did. He just built on what he already had and he made it, refined it. But I remember seeing him play there, and you could tell it was really quality, the consistency of his ball flight. I've been lucky enough to see some of the, like Rory, Shane's, obviously Tommy. I've seen so many of these youngsters come through because they're a little bit younger than me and come on tour and then obviously go on to be world beaters, that when you see them later on, you think, yeah, no, I get it. It makes sense. And Tommy's certainly one of those. So Tommy Fleetwood, exactly what you do. One of the straightest hitters off the tee, one of the best iron players. And he's always one of the best iron players because he has great control over his start line, but obviously his distance control is amazing. What is it about his iron play that makes him great? Let's work out how far we got. First of all, so where are we? Slightly uphill, front flag, 116. If I hit 52, this is going to have a ton of spin. Oh, decisions. See, Tommy had always hit the right shot though. So we're playing like Tommy. So my instincts are screaming welly 52 behind it with a load of spin. And if it spins back to the front, I've got an uphill putt. The reality is it's a tiny chippy pitching wedge, which is a horrible shot for me to play. But Tommy could absolutely do it. To be fair, he's probably got a little bit more length with the irons that he can probably get it back there as well. But we'll go for the pitching wedge. If you're like me, like most of us, where you rely on a lot of arm swing, and certainly for me with my flaw, which is losing it in transition, the club falls behind me, and then I have to whoop, try and time at the bottom. That flash at the bottom to square it up, whilst necessary for it to not go to the right-hand side, timing it, difficult, but also the speed at which the face is closing. Bear in mind, as it's closing, it's changing the loft. Getting the distance right, pot luck, it's like roll the dice. Who knows? So, but Tommy, because that club, as we just talked about, stays in front of him, controlled by his body, controlled by his body, controlled by his body, controlled by his body. Like his muscles in his body, the things that move slower on the inside of the circle, controlling the high speed on the outside, they're moving within his control and they're moving in a way he can control them. So it makes sense why he has such great distance control over his iron shots. So the feeling is exactly the same. We're going to go for all those same feels. Club outside the hands checkpoint for me, although on the toe line is never a bad one. Remember, we talked about Butch working with Tommy. Butch with Ricky Fowler for so many years, that was the drill, wasn't it? Get it in that position first, then crank it and hit it. But for Tommy, with the strike, having the right angle of attack, it's always going to be consistent. And one of the things he is brilliant at, when we talk about control and navigating your strike point, so when you're at address, you look like this. When you're at strike, you look like this. So the sternum is past the golf ball, that's where the club's going to bottom out. But what Tommy will do so well is that he'll never move away off the ball. He stays so beautifully centered on top of it, more than any player that I can really think of. So that move we talked about there, cranked up to the top, on top of the golf ball, down into transition, strike there, and then at the end, he'd butt up again. So if we did have that foam box around him, the two walls of it, the arm is being allowed to go outside, the body's always within. And that's what's beautiful about it. That helps him control it. So no sway. You certainly not see any of this in the takeaway, because after all, remember, we're controlling it, control of the body. And that's our sensation, is feeling like our arm swing can only be as big as our body will allow us to turn. And that's tapping into Tommy, which should, in essence, for this shot, which is a little one, and this is where Tommy's very good at his distance control. He's very much a guy who'll work the clock face and try and match it up on both sides. This is where that can really help, because actually using my body to control the shorter swing is sort of what I want. Let's have a go. Feet a little close together, because this is almost like a long pitch. Can't tell if I'm a little short or not. I mean, it's into the shadow, it looks good, but you can see the great thing about trying to feel what Tommy feels as well is that my checkpoint, just hold it at the end. I like that. If I hold it at the end, it's like, I'm not gonna, when I finish my shot, yeah, I put it there. And just that inspiration at the end of where I want to finish will hopefully help me to bring the rest of it better together. Because if I'm slinging my arms at it, there's no way I'm going to be able to go and grind that to a halt early. And if you want to really put yourself through your paces, try and get it even shorter. Try and feel like you hit a full shot and you stop this, because Tommy does that as a rehearsal. He can stop it there and still have that control. And that's a great way of knowing if you're tying up arms and body together. Okay, let's go. I'm not getting the putter out because I can't quite tell yet whether or not. I might have undercooked that. You know, that's a really easy thing to do. That's one of the reasons I don't like the half shots when they're really small. When I was on tour, easy, because I'm doing it all the time, my feel was so good. Now I don't play a lot, probably play like 6 times a year. Oh, actually, no, I think it's decent. Might be just a hair shy. Play like 6 full rounds of golf a year, 7 full rounds a year. I'm not playing, I'm rusty. So the feel stuff, not so good. So when you're playing, you have to weigh up. As much as we're trying to learn stuff from Tommy Fleetwood, he's doing it all day, every day, and he's really good anyway. And he's been doing it since he was, you know, fresh into the world. He's going to be able to tap into those feels, those shots better. So sometimes cut yourself a bit of slack when you get it wrong on those feely ones, because they're the ones you notice when you've got rust. Well done, Tommy. Cracking judgment. That is, I'd say, 8 inches shy of pin high. Again, very much on brand for Tommy Fleetwood. Monty, this is where he was brilliant. This is how he won 8th Order of Merit. It wasn't so much that he was always knocking flags out. He did. You know, I was lucky enough to get to play with Monty plenty. In fact, when I won for the first time, it was playing against Monty on the last day. He was the guy that I held off in the end to manage to win. But I learned so much from watching him play, and distance control. Oh, it just makes up for so much. If you can hit it the right length, because the bit you're wrong this way is only as important as the bit you're wrong this way. And yet we focus so much on accuracy and little on length, but actually that is just the same as that. It's just where it is in relation to the hole. So tapping into making sure we get better at distance takes a little bit extra pressure off having to be accurate too, because if accuracy and distance are off, that's when we're in bunkers, isn't it? Like these ones here, that's why they've been put here after all these bunkers. Right, putting. So with Tommy, that means I'm gonna have to do the saw. It has been the pencil at times earlier on in the career. And let's tap into why he does it all. So Tommy used to have a very overactive right hand. That's what he thought. And overactive, he felt when he gripped it conventionally that the right hand sometimes would be a bit overactive and it would shut the face down, a bit too much face rotation. Of course, the face rotation dictates where the face is aiming, yeah? It's also going to change speed if we get too much of the active right hand. The electricity that you might feel in your fingers, very common. Very, very common. And when people get the yips, like I really struggled off the tee in terms of feeling comfort, not the putter, but it's the same ethos. I know what it feels like to think, oh my God, and almost not be able to take the club back. And then when you do, it's like, oh God, it went off in my hand. And that's what so many of the modern day grips we see now, which once upon a time, people would have gone, oh, he obviously can't putt if he's cross-handed, for instance. Not anymore. Some people actually start the game cross-handed because they like the fact that it balances out the shoulders. It really does help you to be able to tap into that rock and rock. I quite like it. It's just I've always done it. Do I play enough golf to try and change it now? Probably not. One day if I start to struggle, I love the idea with this club in particular, you have so many options to make it feel and look different. And that's what's wonderful about it. Driver, what can you really do? What can you really do to change something with a problem? Whereas this, long putter, mid-length putter, shaft up the arm with it leaning massively forward, different types of heads, different types of weighting. My zero gravity putter that I use here, the zero torque putter that I use, the Spider, for me, has been a bit of a game changer because it does exactly what I want. So it swings in balance. So for me, when I'm putting, this thing feels like it swings absolutely in balance, and the zero torque allows it to do that. It's true to the path of the club, and I've always liked the idea. I have a shaft that's pretty upright in terms of its plane. Don't have it here. The more it's this way, you tend to see more open shut gate style. With this type of putter, you tend to see it want to swing more true to that, and this one does. It's naturally always wanting to balance out, and for me, if I get out my own way with it, it almost feels like it hits the putt for me. It's why I love it. Not everybody's using the zero torque, but Spider's super common. Tommy uses a Spider, of course, Rory Spider. It's just like so common across the game because the technology in these clubs, it's every bit as important as what you've got in your drivers. Make it easier. The strike, the distance control comes from being more forgiving in the club face, and there's not really many better than what the Spider can deliver, in my opinion. For Tommy, let's talk about his grip. So we talk about taking the right hand out of it. How does he do it? So for him, originally it was the pencil. So he has it where he has the finger of his left hand, forefinger, right down the grip. And then from here, the pencil was more this way, and it fits in lovely there, boom. And what it does, it just feels like it takes his right hand out because it sort of puts it in a brace where it's like, I can't really do much. Whereas when it was like this, I was like, ooh, I got loads of feel in here. And of course with the saw, which Tommy doesn't get, a lot of guys get the saw with the elbow right out like this because it almost feels like it's that tick-tock. It's like, again, a brace to stop it doing it. Tommy's comes a little bit more from the inside, so his shoulders stay nice and square, and that's one of the most important things. This is very uncomfortable for me because I've never done it. Not like literally not once have I ever tried it, so first for everything. But that's why he does it. And again, it's finding what works for you. All the different ones there, pencil, claw, saw, whatever it is, they can really help you. Cross-handed's a really popular one. I always go, I'm traditional with it, but again, I've always felt comfortable that way. Never be afraid to try something though. Never be afraid to be curious. It's never a bad thing. Bit of right to left, finger down. So it doesn't feel great, Tommy. I've got to be honest, mate. I'm not loving it. It just feels a bit self-conscious. I feel vulnerable because I've never done it. Oh, I just didn't have the speed. I mean, it was a good putt. If I had the speed, I didn't hit it. Bit tentative. Do you mind, Tommy, if I have one more go at that? Just so I can have a little practice for the next hole, because I know and if I have one from distance, it's going to make me feel really nervous. The other thing probably worth saying is if you're going to try something new, don't do it in the middle of a round. Don't do that, because it's not giving it a fair crack of the whip either. Because if it is something that's going to work, it's highly unlikely under the pressure of you caring what the outcome is, which of course is what golf is, that you're going to give it a good chance. Yeah, power's going to be an issue for me here. But again, maybe that's where a little bit of it is that having the feeling like you can hit it harder and swing more and control it through your shoulders actually is where the benefit is for this. because it's when you feel like you can only make a little swing and oh, the speed's gone and it's away from you, that's what makes us tentative. So maybe I have to commit with this one to feeling a bit more aggressive. Back, roll. Yeah, that's better. Okay. All right, okay, I get you, Tommy. I get you. Let's go with that on the next. No birdie, I'm afraid, buddy. Easy par, though. First of all, Tommy, smart boy, would never tee it up where I just teed that up. See, what a tee time tip that is. What a stupid thing I just did there. I literally walked on the tee, just went bump, straight in the ground. Idiot. Tee time tip number 1 here on this tee, par 5. Make it easier for what you're trying to do. Now, granted, if you're a big fader of the ball, no big dramas, and actually you might like creating a bit of an angle where I can aim out to that left-hand side and work it back. But for most of us, this tree's encroaching. So make sure you tee it up on the side of the tee that gives you the most space. And that is quite clearly here. Remember, you don't have to stand inside the tee as long as the ball's inside those tee markers, absolutely fine. So there we have it. I'm gonna go for the same feel, same Tommy sort of tap in there, not too long in the backswing, keeping it within myself, sawing off follow through, trying to feel like I control all of that speed with my body. And remember, on a par 5, this is where I have to resist the urge to smash it. Soon as I get outside comfort, I'm gonna do things that allow me to hit it hard. And for me, that's longer and slingy and fast with my upper body. None of those things allow me to do Tommy's drill. So commit to being what I have to be to hit the shot. Being on the fairway in 270 yards here is better than 290 yards in the trees. 270 yards also in the trees though won't work. So, you know, still gotta be on the fairway. Tommy's got such a wonderful posture as well. I like that. I can be a bit guilty sometimes of sitting a bit too much like this. One of my focuses, a bit straighter in the legs, making sure I'm nicely stacked over the ball, because then the arms have the space to swing underneath me. Right, here we go. That's not bad. It's gonna catch the fairway well, maybe just off the edge. Left edge of the fairway there, I like that. Pretty good. So there you go. Perfect. Good spot. What have we got in here? So just going to check because this is going to be a long club. So let's have a little look how far we've got. Perfect tee shot, 241 to the heart of the green. That's what the front is. Yeah, about 226 to the front. That's an awkward distance for me with an iron. So it's a perfect chance to be able to use a club that's going into so many players' bags at the moment. This is not mine, actually. I borrowed it because I wanted to try it today. QI 35. It's a tall head, but it's a lofted wood, which I wouldn't use. This is a 7 wood. It's got 21 degrees on it. Why do I want to try it? Because all of them are trying it, Tommy included. Tommy's got a 9 wood in his bag, which back in the day, people would have been like, you know, like it was a 9 wood. Tommy has a 9 wood. He's quite good. One of the tour champs in FedEx Cup, don't you know? So why though? Why Scotty Scheffler got a 7 wood in his bag? Why? Well, because of the utility of them. Coming from lies like this in the rough, this club is going to want to glide. So from here, the iron I'd need for like 240, yeah, 242. The iron I'd need from it, well, I haven't got one. It's a 2 iron. I just can't get a 2 iron out of this grass with an iron because it's going to snag. Whereas this, with the sole play it has, it wants to work through that grass so easily, and the loft on it just pops it out the grass, gets it through the air. And of course, in the winter, that's going to be really important for us. And that means that it's an easy shot all of a sudden, whereas with an iron, I just can't get it there. And it's certainly not going to be any good for me to try and chop a little 3 wood out of it. That's not going to work. So all of a sudden it's a godsend. Even from the fairway, it can have that lovely soft landing shot. And so many players are choosing to use it. How do they hit it? Well, they tend to, and Tommy's talked about this, he sees it as like an extension of his irons. So he sees it like an iron swing. So even if you don't have a lofted wood and you have a hybrid, Tommy would see that as an extension of his iron swing. So again, taking a nice little divot, not trying to sweep it like a wood in spite of how it looks. And for this, it almost feels like he does. He swings it a bit like he's hitting an iron beyond the 4 or 3 iron in his bag. So that's what I'm going to tap into here. 240. It's going to go oh so high though, but let's give it a whirl. I don't know if I'm ready for it. I've never hit one before. Oh wow, it is so high. Look at that thing. Stay, it's drifting a hair right. Oh, it's a fraction short and right at the green. But I must admit, I mean, that thing just went whoosh, straight up in the sky. Nice using, especially if I hit one out of there. Should we have a go out the rough? let's get it in here. So it's not bad, but not good. So like that, I mean, it's nestled a bit where an iron. I've got to get through this stuff here too. I just can't hit my 2-iron and get it to fly properly. Because you see it's hidden. Whereas with this, it's just, I don't even have to dig it out. It's just going to naturally want to pop out of this grass with these lofted woods. And this is where they really come into their own. You can see so easily comes out, so much height on it still. I mean, that's gone as far as the one I've just hit from the fairway. And it's just great club to have in the bag, great for the artillery. I can see why someone like Tommy, Scotty, these sorts of guys are using more and more of them. I think one of the things that I really enjoy about watching Tommy play is also the relationship and the way him and Ian Finnis, his caddy, work together. There's so much respect there, and they've got this great camaraderie of friends, which you see a little bit on tour. There's a few players who have friends who are caddies, but there's just a great respect. I think having a strong person, a strong caddy alongside Tommy, what he has, sometimes you look at him and think, God, he's such a nice guy. He's such a lovely fella. Like, has he got the killer instinct? Has he got that sort of ruthless, you know, that sort of look, that tiger, like that fierceness, the ferociousness? Rory's definitely got that. As much as he's a nice guy, he's got that. And Tommy, he does have that, but it's disguised. Like, he is a gentleman. He will always be nice. He'll always treat people with respect, but at the same time, he is hungry, he's feisty, and it's sometimes in those big moments where you really see it. And funny enough, at the Ryder Cup, when there was all that hoo-ha on the 16th tee, Tommy stood his ground as well. You can see on the way off, it was just like, for some people, that would have been really uncomfortable. The animosity there, the crowd weighing in on it as well. Obviously got uncomfortable with the reaction of how players were. It's in the moment. Look, I'm sure some of the guys regret how they behaved there, but in the moment, the energy, the feeling that they're in, it just boils over sometimes. It did there, and they all made friends afterwards, obviously. But Tommy was having none of it. Some people would have been knocked off track there, and Tommy just showed his composure. He has poise as well. I think that's one of the things for me with Tommy that stands out. So Sam Snead once said, the ability to stay on an even keel is what makes a great player. I think Tommy does that so well. Never too high, never too low. And as much as I find it very exciting to watch players who are always very high or always very low, and we need those guys in the game, I think one of Tommy's superpowers is the fact that as much as he will always express disappointment and he'll always express happiness, happiness comes in a fist pump and disappointment comes in a little bit of a reaction, never extremes. So he just bobbles along and it never changes, whether he's just playing a casual round or he's trying to win the Tour Championship or playing the Ryder Cup. I think in those cauldrons of pressure, that leaning into, I'm always the same. Whatever I do, every time I turn up, I always feel the same. By the way, this is the one from the rough. There's that ball there. It's just my standard TP5X. And here is our one that we hit. So actually it was perfect for distance. It was actually absolutely perfect. It's still very much Tommy Fleetwood. I did leak it a hair. I leaked it a fraction. When we look back there, actually, the fairway's got a tiny bit of camber from left to right. So maybe I didn't allow for that, or maybe I just leaked it a fraction. I felt like it might go left with all that loft. And to be honest, getting used to looking down at a loft would be one of the things that I think I'd have to put some time into. But I mean, brilliant. Both those lies, to be able to get it up here from that rough. I definitely don't have a club otherwise that can do that. I've unfortunately got a cobber mud, and you can see the lie here is a bit scruffy on the right-hand side of the green. So this is a little awkward. I am expecting to get this up and down. Tommy is very polished around the green, but again, like all those things, super simple in how he plays all of them. So we're going to use a nice simple shot. I brought all my wedges, usual wisdom though, of trying to pick a spot that's sort of a yard or two on the green, and then how much space have I got to run it out to the whole side. That's either going to be a 56 or a 52. And you can see the muck here. There's mud on the golf ball, and it's sat on a bit of mud. It's unfortunately not a great spot I've finished in. But I think I can do it with 52 because these greens are going to be quite soft. We've had quite a lot of rain recently. Course is immaculate considering. To help me get the strike, I need to make sure obviously ball ground, which is obviously what every shot can be. But at times we'll use the bounce. Some would argue you can use the bounce through a lie like this too, but I think it's just difficult. So I'm going to lean the shaft forward. It's going to expose a little bit more of that leading edge. Leading edge, bounce. Bounce great for not digging, leading edge digs, but at the same time it's going to help me by leaning the shaft forward to trap that ball, come through. And as long as my divot's in front of it, then I'm not going to hit that fat one, which is my big concern by doing this. It's going to come out lower and then want to get a bit of a scoot on. So I'm not going to allow it to swing. I'm literally going to keep the handle in forward, It's going to be a very simple little rock and rock. It's just like a putt. So putt, handles further forward, still a putt. Leaning the weight on that left side to help me with my angle of attack as well. Getting a little steeper. Pop into the green, feed out, very tidy. You can see the finish position, again, we talk about it when we're with Tommy Fleetwood in terms of trying to hold it with a full swing. Does no harm sometimes when you're working at stuff especially, hold the finish, because it'll tell you so much about the shot you've played, where the hands are in relation to the body. And of course with that one, I was trying to drive it forward, so I stayed this way, a bit Mickelson-ish. Whereas normally with my chip, I like to let the club swing a little bit more, and I'd be more in here, sort of hands in the hip pocket, club starting to swing past me, loft looking back at me, that would hit the higher one. That though, clearly was the right choice. Right, let's tap it in. Tommy, you're about to go 1 under, buddy. You could have been 2 under after 2. Always clean the golf ball. I haven't brought my towel with me. Only takes a second. And if you're only hitting 4 shots in a hole, you can afford to take an extra second. Whereas the fella hitting 12, he should get a groove on. Oh, I've got to saw it. But from here, saw works perfect. 1 under, Tommy, good work, mate. 1 to go. 1 to go. It's a par 3 as well, right up your street, mate. This has always been one of my favourite holes here at Wentworth, across all of Wentworth Club, across all of the 3 courses. The West is the jewel in the crown for me. I do absolutely buy into it. This is probably my 2nd favourite golf course, although we're a great restoration of the East course in recent times. But the 17th on the Edinburgh, beautiful par 3. It's a tough flag as well, back left flag. But actually the framing of this now is actually something that really stands out, because all across here, have a little pan around, this is all the new Wentworth Academy. I spend so much time here with the kids. How good is this as a par 3 course, by the way? All USGA spec these greens. Look at them, they're as good. They are as good as the greens on the West course. Absolutely stunning, all hitting from beautiful areas. No bunkers on it at all. Brilliant to work on your wedge play, which is the scoring part of the game as well. What a privilege, 9 holes, beautiful short game area, putting green, and right through there, the new range, which I'm spending more and more time on, which hopefully means my game is going to get better. That's the plan, anyway. Anyway, more of that another time. Let's focus here on the 17th hole, which is our final one with Tommy. You're 1 under, mate, so don't blow it now. 163. So one of the things Tommy would be good at here would be not being sucked in to that pin. Nothing good's going to come from that pin, because there's bunkers there that are short-sided. They're not very nice either. So I'm staring a bogey in the face. The smart play is 10 feet right, and so that's what I'm going to do. 65. 8-iron. Well, look how nice this turf is. Should we hit it off the ground? Even though that is absolutely not... No, I can't, because we're playing like Tommy. So you're not allowed to. You know when you play with these people who just throw it down on the ground on a par 3? It's not big and it's not clever. You'll never see a tour pro do that. You'll never see a tour pro just throw it down like that. When you have the benefit of a tee peg, and granted this is almost down to the ground, but not quite, they will always use it. Why would you make the game harder? So when you see a good player throw it down like that on a par 3, it looks cool, but it's not. It's not. Give yourself the best chance. Put it on a tee peg. That's what Tommy would do. So what I'm going to do here though, in the spirit of it, rather than just trying to make sure I shoot under par, I'm going to go for the massive Fleetwood. So I am going to be super sawn off, super short, super checkpoint Charlie here on this side. Boom, finished with my 8-iron. And if I do that, hopefully it will produce something that Tommy does, but it could go horribly wrong, because it's obviously not how I swing it, which is a little bit more like this. So here we go. I'm going to tap into the rehearsal, ties into what I'm trying to feel. More with the body, up, down, there. And that's my feel. Okay. Over to you, Tom. Is it short enough? I don't know, what do you think? I mean, it's a bloody good looking shot. I mean, it's exactly where I said I was going to hit it. What do you think? Short enough? I saw in my head it was here, but it wasn't, it was up here. But isn't that great? And that's like everything in golf. That's why we exaggerate in our fields, because inevitably when we do it in real time, it will never be there. It's like when you say, you swing it and you rehearse, you go, yeah, nice and short, that's great, yeah, nice and short, that's lovely. When you do it real, it's always longer. When you hit it in the trees and you're trying to chip out and you go, yeah, I've got room, you always hit the branch, right? When you hit it in real time, because we always do it longer. So really going to town on the sensations is not always a feel, not a position, a feel is not a bad thing, because in reality, you're probably going to be somewhere between the two, where you were and where you want to get to. Lovely looking shot, I'm absolutely taking that though. It's a putt for, it's a little bit beyond the flag, but it is a putt for a 2. So one thing I haven't talked too much about that Butch has done with Tommy is, amongst other things, allowing him to release his head. Really cool, I like this. So I've always naturally done this without trying to do it. Thankfully, no one tried to change it, because so many great players have done this. So you'll see it strike, Henrik Stenson, Annika Sorenstam, David Duval, so many players will be, as they hit it, head's already gone. It's sort of like this way, it's almost turned away where they're not even really looking at the ball. I think I'm looking at the ball, but the reality is I'm probably not. It just happens so quick, doesn't it? I don't even know if I really see the ball hit, but my head has gone a bit. Where that's good is that it gives you freedom. If I turn my head this way, now granted there's also players who struck it. Jack Nicklaus, boom, left eye dominant though, boom, head this way at strike. The reality is, if you let your head go, for most of us, it allows freedom for the body to move, because it's like a brake this. When the head's this way, it's harder to turn. As soon as I turn my head with it, it allows my body to be able to rotate through. And of course, for the movement we're talking with Tommy, which is so much aggression with the body, less arm swing, so much aggression with the body, we want it to feel like we can really allow it to turn through. And by me allowing my head to go with it, frees my body to turn. And Butch made that with Tommy. He had him releasing his head through strike. This way, harder to turn. As soon as I go like that, see how much extra movement I've got. It's another little piece to Tommy's jigsaw. All part of these simple little things. I mean, goodness me, it's not complicated, is it? One of the reasons why he's so good though. Good looking shot. I mean, it's exactly where I said I was going to try and hit it. 10 feet right of the hole, safety first. You can see there was a bunkers waiting. You know, I'm absolutely taking that. Sure, it's a little long. I'm not perfectly pin high, which has sort of been Tommy's MO. And I've done quite well with that today, to be fair, these few holes. But I'll take it. It's not a bad shot for distance control, is it? What am I, 5 yards out, 6 yards out? Close enough to have a good birdie chance. Try and shoot 2 under for our 3-hole tee time tips, tee to green. All right, here we go. I always go around the low side first. Always low side first. Sort of tap it into, I feel like that's what's going to come. But now I stand here, definitely a little bit right to left to start. I feel like that's sort of feeding in a little low on this side though. Yeah, it definitely is at the end. So I think it might be a bit of a double. All right, come on Tom lad. Come on Tommy lad. Those beautiful locks out the way. Here we go. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit right to left. Okay. Back roll. Ah! Had a fleeting chance on the way down there. See what I did with that. Okay, this for the par. I gotta be honest with you, like the grip thing, I mean, I wish I put it like Tommy, but I do feel a bit uncomfortable with it because I've never tried it. It is definitely, I can see how I'm uncomfortable because I feel vulnerable with my right hand, like I've got no control, and I actually quite like feeling a little bit in my right hand. I trust it. It is very neutral on the club for me. It does a good job. Whereas here, I don't feel like I can use it, which in essence is the job. That's why Tommy does it, because it's out of it, can't do anything. And that to me is a little uncomfortable, but for some, it's going to be the secret. In it goes, 1 under par, Tommy Fleetwood, play like Tommy Fleetwood. That's what we're all about today with our Tee Time Tips Tee to Green. I hope it's helped you. Please let us know if you honestly believe, the answer's yes to this by the way, if you honestly believe that I did play for 3 holes, do play, whatever, like Tommy Fleetwood. Let us know in the comments. Let us know which bits helped you out the most as well. Good luck with your golf. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.